Is it more that Milwaukee was able to hand on, or was it because KD ran out of gas?
That's a tough one. I'm actually gonna say the Bucks won this one because there were multiple times that KD knocked down some incredible shots, not just in game seven, but in multiple games throughout the series. And despite that, the Bucks were able to come back and rally against it. So you have to look at the Bucks here, and you got to give them a lot of credit for staying poised under the pressure. And Giannis was a beast this entire series. In game seven, he proved it once again, dropped 40 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. And he was the one constant throughout the entire series for the Bucks. The Nets couldn't really limit him in any sort of way. Pretty much every game, he was scoring 30 or 30 plus. So Giannis, this was really one of the best series that I've ever seen him play in the playoffs. He was just a man amongst boys. I thought Chris Middleton had an okay game. Didn't necessarily have the best shooting performance in game seven. He did drop 23. I thought Brook Lopez stepped up in a huge way in game seven, almost had 20 points by himself. Granted, the bench didn't do much. They run an eight-man rotation in Milwaukee. Connaughton dropped 9, but in game seven, you're gonna have to use every single one of those points because you don't know if you're gonna get them from anywhere else on that bench because Britton Forbes only played 5 minutes. He didn't score anything. I believe Giannis's brother only played a minute. He didn't score anything either. But hey, man, give the Bucks credit. Despite KD knocking down some amazing shots throughout this series, the Bucks were able to just ride the wave, so to speak, and make some shots at the right times and give themselves an opportunity to win against arguably the favorite coming out of the East, which was the Nets. I think a lot of people had this penned in that Brooklyn was going to go to the finals when this team was assembled with KD, Kyrie, and James when they made that midseason or the in-season trade for him. The fact that the Bucks were able to beat that three-headed monster in Brooklyn, I think you got to give them some credit for that. Don't get me wrong. I think KD did run out of gas at the end as well. I'm just going to give a little bit more credit to the Bucks. The Bucks held strong against this team, so you got to give them credit for that.
No, I mean, big shout out to Milwaukee for holding on. I want to say about a week and a half ago, we were talking about this possibly being a sweep because of just how bad they were playing at the beginning of the series.
Yep.
And they found a way to claw their way back and take this to a game seven and then win. But it does circle back to the scary point of injuries.
Yep.
If Kyrie doesn't get hurt, is this the same outcome? If James doesn't get hurt, is this still a sweep? I mean, we're talking here. James Harden was probably under 80%. I mean, he just looked god awful, throwing up garbage pretty much the last 2 games he's played since he came back with the hamstring. I mean, he had 22 points, but that's because he was 10 of 10 from the free throw line. Don't let that fool you. He was 5 of 17 from the field, 2 of 12 from the 3-point line.
Did put the whole game in.
He did, again, absolutely atrocious though. So I give it to him for I will give Harden a lot of respect for going out there basically on one leg and playing every possible minute that you can and trying to will your team to win because you just knew. Again, I don't like James Harden, but you can tell that he was just not feeling it. He was just off and he was hurt and he was limited. But with the, lacking piece that is Kyrie Irving, a crucial piece to this team. Who's to say that Brooklyn does not win this series a lot earlier? Again, it's almost similar to the Lakers. If LeBron James and AD aren't hurt or incapacitated, maybe they win their series. So the two projected favorites end up losing due to injury. I'll give Phoenix a little bit more credit because they're continuing their dominant run throughout this playoffs. So, it may have gone 7. I won't disrespect them like that, but if Kyrie and Harden and KD are healthy, I think that they sweep their way through this whole playoffs. I think this is like a run through because other than Giannis scoring 40, Middleton and Drew Holiday had very poor shooting nights pretty much every night in and out. Like they were shooting under 50%, or excuse me, under 40% for the majority of this series. and it just did not look good. I mean, if it wasn't for Giannis, I believe that this team would actually get annihilated. Like they might have to enforce a mercy rule because Kevin Durant was a man amongst boys as well, and he just could not be stopped. It didn't matter who guarded him. PJ Tucker, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a double team. KD was hitting shots that you just kind of question yourself, like, is he a human being or is this staged? Is it fixed? Did they put a bigger rim on the other side of the court because he just everything went in?